Joining us now here in the studio is US Studies Centre fellow and Sky News contributor Bruce Wolpe. Good to see you.
Just another rocky day around the world.
Absolutely. Are you surprised by Kamala Harris? It all comes down to money, right?
No, there were two really devastating profiles on her campaign last week in the Washington Post and the New York Times, which is the campaign wasn't going anywhere. Here's a woman of great promise, great charisma, seemed to have Obama around her. She couldn't put it together, get critical mass, communicate a compelling message, and her campaign just imploded.
Because this is the funny thing, well, not funny, but it's the interesting thing about this season, the election season, is that remember she was taking on Joe Biden. This is a whole busing incident about a few months ago now, and they thought, well, this could be the Democratic contender.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, gone.
No one really knew what she truly stood for, how she could really bring the country together. On the other hand, today, she's everyone's #1 vice presidential choice.
Right. Was she what was her position?
She's a senator, and she was Attorney General of the state of California.
Attorney General, that's right.
So she had a strong law enforcement, which gave her credentials for the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Look, it's all pretty uninspiring at the moment, I've got to say, but we are still a little way away from the election, and hopefully they can get it together somehow.
It's a race without front runners. You have different candidates leading in different states. So Buttigieg is leading early in Iowa. Joe Biden is still leading nationally, but you can't see a way for, there's no person to choose right now who can put it all together and claim the nomination. This could be a really long, divisive fight.
We're just looking at some live pictures now. It looks like Donald Trump's at Buckingham Palace, or he's in London anyway. There's a bit going on. There's a bit of a protest going outside the palace at the moment, so he must be in there with the Royals. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for them. But first of all, let's talk about this stoush that's going on between himself and the French President Emmanuel Macron over NATO.
The bromance is over.
I am so confused.
Yeah. Well, he thinks NATO's great, and he's been very critical in the past.
Trump is a disruptor of NATO. He thinks it should have a different mission, and he brought that to NATO in the first 2 years of his presidency. And President Macron commented on the end result of that. He called NATO brain dead, and NATO is not as strong and cohesive as it was. Its role is essential. It has kept the peace in Europe for 70 years. That's pretty crucial. Trump has done one good thing. He's made other countries pay up on the military side to make NATO more viable. But between the allies, you have Boris pulling out of Brexit. You have Macron calling NATO brain dead. You have the United States as a disruptor, and Merkel leaving Germany. So you have NATO in a weakening transition stage, and the beneficiary of it, frankly, is Russia and Putin.
Also, Trump making headlines either just before he left or just as he arrived in London about the trade war. His most pessimistic comments about any kind of deal with China to date, but also stepping up these tariffs on 2 South American countries as well.
Exactly. Tariffs are his go-to weapon, and he's also saying with France, which is going to impose a tax on high-tech companies. These companies like Google and so forth don't pay taxes on their French revenues.
We know
all about that here. And so he's wants to hit France with tariffs. So it means that trade war is going on as NATO is,
it's interesting too. This conference that he had overnight, he wouldn't be drawn on the protests that have taken place in Iran, where protesters were basically massacred overnight, and he wasn't going to be drawn on Prince Andrew. Questions about Prince Andrew, even though he's been photographed with him many times in the past.
But the big question is he going to see Boris, and how close is he going to be with Boris in these crucial last days before the campaign? And I think the Prime Minister does not want an overly strong Trump presence going into the polls.
I cannot wait to see pictures of the Queen and Donald Trump meeting at Buckingham Palace.
Actually, last year went very well, and Trump was very deferential to her, and so I would expect those pictures to be quite good.
He really respects the kind of the monarchy and the establishment.
The ultimate,
which is weird.
Yes, indeed. It's all there.
Bruce, appreciate it.
Thank you.